Hey, today on Gun Talk Nation, we've got Martin Tuason from Armscor and Rock Island Armory. He's a real gun guy, and he's the CEO. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Lockdown, Secure Your Lifestyle, Savage Arms, Armscor, Silencer Central, Silence Delivered, and Frankford Arsenal. Welcome in to Gun Talk Nation. Today on the show, we're bringing him back, Martin Tuason from Armscor, Rock Island. I love having you on the show, man, because you're a gun guy, and you guys do some interesting things, some different stuff, which is fun.
Well, I've always loved guns. My dad's brainwashed me to be in this business since I was 3.5 years old. So it's, it's my passion. My wife always says that I love my factory more than I love her. And it's not true. Actually,
it's just the factory is just a demanding baby.
That's right. When you want to set it up and you want to do things right, you have to do it yourself. So I had to spend a lot of time there over the last 10 years to get it right. Right now, I haven't been back in 2 years. So
Wow.
Obviously I'm getting something right. My team is great. I have to give them all the credit. I may have set everything up, and now it runs on remote control. Kind of like what the US operation is. We set up Armscor. I spent 15 years setting up the US operations, and my team here, man, it's like remote control. I just get reports. I go in once every 2 weeks, say hi to everybody, ask if they need anything from me, and everybody tells me just to get out of their way.
That's good. That's a good test. I've heard that before of like, if you really want to see if your business is running great, what you try to do is make yourself obsolete as the business owner. Can you like step away for an entire month and things continue to keep going? I mean, that's what you're talking about.
Can you step away for 2 years and everything keeps going?
Right.
So I don't want people to think that I don't work. I still do. I still maintain a lot of hours. I still go through a lot of things. I'm also chairman of the board of the mother company. My dad really has taken a step back, and it's the next generation running things. He actually just recently came back on the board because he's bored.
Yeah, you got to give him something to do. Keep him out of trouble.
It's like, I want to vote. I want to join a couple of the committees and so forth. So fair enough. But being a board member is more like going back to school. I prepare risk assessment reports, XCOM reports, board reports and presentations, 5-year strategic planning, making sure we stick to our mission vision, all the boring stuff in the background, and then translate it into how we're going to get into operations.
Which then we get to the fun stuff, which was what I was doing last week with a few of your guys. I was out at the gathering, the Palmetto State Armory event out in South Carolina, and I'm walking around checking out the booths, and lo and behold, I see Flat Brim Kenny Barlow over there. So you got to stop in because Kenny's one of the more fun people in the industry. And you guys were showing off a few different things. I got to shoot the VRF14. I got to shoot your cool all metal 22 rifle. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was starting to say is you guys do things differently. And I think you're not like stuck into one box. I mean, talk about, for people who don't know the VRF14, what is this contraption? I mean, this is a beast.
I think I could get into the whole shot here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's short enough. I get pretty much everything. That is the whole gun. There's no butt stop. So
12
the VRF14,
gauge,
no
butt
mag
stop.
fed firearm, and we call it firearm. It's because we have the ATF letter. That's overall length is 26 inches, barrel length is 14. The mags are the VR mags, so you can go up to the 19 rounders. I think some aftermarket 25 round drum magazines for it too. I mean, can you imagine having a home defense shotgun that you can go around? It's tiny, and you put 25 round drum magazine on it. Man, it's a force to be reckoned with. So it's fantastic. Well, you shot it, so it's a beast, but it's fantastic, and it's unique. It's not a Turkish shotgun. So a lot of people think, oh, it looks like the VR series, in our lineup, the VR80
Right.
or the VR60 or VR100. No, this is made in the United States.
Wow, really?
So I want to really be clear about that. I think a lot of people assume that it's just another Turkish shotgun, and it's not. It's a firearm, and a firearm has to be made in the United States. So we put and invested a lot of money. So far, I think we're running up about $8 million so far in total investments in the United States to put up the factory for this. We are
Wow.
now located in Cedar City, Utah.
Okay.
We were making them in Pahrump, and we were having some labor issues, which basically said Pahrum's a retiree town and nobody wants to work. The average age is 54, and we couldn't find qualified machinists and CNC operators and stuff like that. So we moved next to the technical college in Cedar City, Utah. And so we think we're going to grow over there. There's an abundance of graduates from the technical school or the college right down the street. They have CNC programmers and stuff like that. And so we think we're going to make what we call our unimportable factory.
Ah,
So,
gotcha. That makes sense, because obviously
yeah.
there are guns being made other places, but the ones that really aren't conducive to importation because of whatever kind of regulations, stuff like this.
Yeah, this number one, you have the point scale for bringing in handguns. So you look at the Beretta 21s that they're being made in Massachusetts, right? And there's certain guns that are being made, ARs, all the SIG ARs, FN ARs, all that stuff. They're not importable. They had deemed no sporting purpose according to ATF, so they all have to be done in the United States. So we're kind of in that line too. But I don't want to just make another AR,
Right.
I don't want to go up against FN, and I don't want to go up against SIG or something like that. I want to have something unique, a niche. If there's 10,000 of these to be made every year, we're going to make 10,000 of these, and then we're going to be the only ones selling them. We're hoping it's more than 10,000, but we're young. It's young. Can only make about 600 of these a month right now, but we are expanding and spending more money to go on.
Are those the first ones as far as the new Cedar City facility? Those are the first guns being made there?
Actually, mine's still made in Pahrump. Starting April 1, they'll be made in Cedar City, Utah. We actually just got the FFL 2 weeks ago approved. We actually transferred all the gun parts already this last 2 weeks. And so we're thinking we could turn on the machines April 1.
And then probably from there, there's other possibilities, right? I mean, doing some more things there.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Lisa's already banned me. But there are 2 summer projects that are similar in nature to the VRF14 unimportables. And then we are working now on a pocket pistol series. The smaller sizes will be made in Cedar City, Utah. And then maybe the largest one will probably still be made in the Philippines.
Okay.
So it'll be kind of like a combination between, the 2 factories. I think somebody wrote a really nice article on me in the NRA magazine a few years ago. I'm a dual citizen, right? I live and breathe America, but I also am Filipino. So I look for ways to create jobs in both countries at the same time.
Gotcha.
And that's always my goal. So if somebody says, "Hey, man, why are you doing it in the Philippines?" God, I was born there.
Right.
Our factory started there. We started there. We're just so happy to be in the United States that I want to give something back.
Well, and people are going to ask, what's it like to shoot the VRF14? And I can say, because I shot it last week, I mean, it's a handful. It's a short, handy 12 gauge, like you said, magazine fed. And we kind of played with shooting it from the hip. We played with shooting it up in front of your face like you would hold a pistol or something like that. Or you could even kind of hold it a similar way out in front. You're gonna have to play with it.
Is put a forend grip on the front and get a nice strap and use the strap as your brace and push forward and then shoot it that way.
I would think it'd also be nice to have some sort of aiming system on it? Kind of maybe perhaps a laser or something like that?
Oh, but we have so many rails on this thing, man. You could choose whatever you want on it, man. I mean, from a full top rail, you got a bottom rail, you got the side rails, put a flashlight, laser, bayonet. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, you could attach the kitchen sink and a cup holder there if you want. Yeah.
You can fit everything on there. It's a very functional home defense firearm. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, hey, you can take this to an IPSC match. Go buy a VR80, right?
Right.
But for home defense, man, this sure beats my old pump.
Yeah.
Even if I had a pump with a pistol grip, this is just so much better.
It was fun shooting it. I could see it's definitely I think that's probably the best application for it is probably a home defense gun. Martin, hold on 1 second. We have a few sponsors to thank. Reloaders rejoice, all the data you need in one place. HodgdonReloading.com. I mean, Hodgdon they are the powder people, and the Hodgdon Reloading Data Center is the leader in reloading information. So I know a lot of you are thinking about getting into this. This is a really good place to start. They have all the recipes. It's been tested, it's been vetted, and it gives you a lot of good starting points and options on what bullet combination with which powder and how do you build this cartridge up. So that's a great place to start. Also, Armscor Rock Island Armory, the STK-100 9mm. This is a gun that we've been talking about a lot. It's their first striker-fired pistol, and as you'll hear Martin talk about this when you ask him, it's an aluminum frame, but it's a 1911 grip angle. And that was a big deal for them, is to make it as shootable as a 1911. You can also actually customize this gun because there are a lot of interchangeable parts, Glock style 17 round magazines. It has a universal optics plate for several different mounting of different optics. And the MSRP has been lowered to $499. Armscor.com. Also, Frankford Arsenal. Frankford Arsenal has all the tools you need to start reloading. Case cleaning tools like tumblers and separators, case trimmers, deburring tools, flash hole tools for case prep, plus a variety of reloading presses, powder measures, scales, priming tools, ammo boxes. Use the code GUNTALK10 for 10% off site-wide at frankfordarsenal.com. So, Martin, coming up, we've got, we kind of had the show season with like SHOT Show and all these dealer and distributor shows. And now we're getting into NRA show is kind of in our sights. And the consumer shows are kind of interesting. The one I was just at, I was there the day before the consumers came in, but that was a consumer show, the gathering. Those are always interesting and kind of fun and in a different way, because you're hearing from the end users, the people who are really the gun enthusiasts. I mean, that's got to be fun for you guys seeing people coming to the booth.
Well, frankly, so I've been doing NRA for a long time, and I love talking to everybody. I mean, on Sunday, I have no voice. I will talk to every single person that comes into the booth that wants to talk to me. I got no problem with that. From the guy who says, if you did this on your 1911, you would sell a whole bunch. But he's the only guy who likes it. But hey, there's always like that. And somebody always comes up with a good idea here and there, whether, I remember a few years ago, hey, why aren't you making the guns in stainless? And I said, why aren't we making the guns in stainless? So we have a stainless model, right? Things like that. Somebody says, hey, I really love your pistol, but I get a lot of holster wear on that Parkerizing, man. I had to Cerakote my gun. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I bought 2 Armor Lube coating machines, and they're being installed in the Philippines in the next month or so. And, in the summertime, we're going to start slowly introducing our Armor series guns, which is going to be, a $200 retail finish, $250 retail finish. We're going to do it for a quarter of that price.
Wow.
End user. I mean, look, man, if you got $500 on your credit card, you should be able to afford one of my guns. I'm not going to be too far off that.
You guys have always, that's been one thing that I hear from a lot of people is when they talk about your guns, it's always very, I guess, attainable, affordable, and they always like what they get for the value. They get what they like, what they get there.
That's my niche. That's really where I fit in. I want to have the best possible product at the best possible price, not because I could sell it for that much. Am I going to sell it that way? I mean, we look at our margins. I'm not going to say we don't,
Sure.
but we want to make a reasonable margin and still provide the product, right? And I think traditionally in the 1911 world, everybody said, "Oh, you can get a lot more for this." Oh, okay, so you charge more for it, right? But in my case, I want everyone to shoot. So how do you get everyone to shoot? I mean, I was a broke college kid, at one point in time. My dad, paid me minimum wage until I was 29 years old in the company. The only reason he changed that was because I had the first grandchild, and he said I had to be able to support my family. So he put me on commissions and gave me a bigger base salary and started increasing from there. But not a lot of people know I used to sell weight loss products in my 20s to subsidize my income because my dad paid me minimum wage. He's just like, one day you might be running this company, you'll earn as much as me. Until you earn it, you don't do it.
Wow.
So, I couldn't afford cable television in college. No, I couldn't afford cable television in college. I ate mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese to this day, but mac and cheese and ramen, those stories are true. We like Filipino ramen. So I go to the Filipino store, buy a big case of Lucky Me, Pancit Canton, which is our version of ramen. And, it's $79 a packet. That's 79 cents a packet. And that's what I eat.
Yeah. It's funny how many people will talk about eating ramen or mac and cheese when you're, a little bit younger, don't have as much money, but it seems like people still like it, right? It's still pretty good.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. Terrible for you, but it's fantastic. I was in the Filipino store the other day and I almost bought some, but my wife will kill me if I bring that to the house. So, it's really what I was. I love guns. You know that. Most people who've met me know how much I love guns. How could I afford to buy a gun on that kind of a budget?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I had to save up months just to buy my first para. I got a P10 para. It took me months to be able to afford that. Just saving and saving and saving and saving. The first handgun I ever owned in the United States was a Glock, and Glock 19, and that was a struggle to come up with the money for that too. And I was getting it at distributor cost because I was friends with all the distributors. And it's still tough at that time. So I come into the business in 99 and I'm like, look, how do we make it where someone like me can go to the gun store and buy a gun? Now,
but you're right. A company's first duty to its customers is to make a profit, because if you don't make a profit, you can't stay in business and you can't serve your customers. So you got to do that.
I'm not a charity. I'm not a charity. I'm going to say that. People got to understand we got to make money. We got to pay employees. Got to do that. I'm responsible to shareholders, other family members. But how do we do it in a way where we can still sell the product, make the product the best it possibly can be, and make money? Well,
you have to. Well, along those lines, another gun that I got to play with this week was the TM22. And I was looking, you guys have a lot of different 22s. That one was pretty fun. And is that a new product for you guys, the TM22?
Yeah. Yes, the TM22, it's coming out this summer.
Okay.
I'll be honest, we had some technical issues, but we think we've resolved all of it. And so the plan to release it was at SHOT Show. So the ones that, all the people like yourselves have gotten a chance to shoot work fantastic, but we've had to do a couple of fixes more to it. But
what was the biggest challenge for you guys in designing and building that gun? Because the 22s can be finicky.
No, they are. That's the problem. We were having a hard time getting it to cycle correctly, number one. Number two, man, we're having them go full auto.
I mean, it's fun, but you don't want that to happen by accident. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, it's a liability issue for us, right? So, the first 50 that we made, I think like 8 or 9 of them went full auto. So we had to redesign some springs and and some angles on the breech face and stuff like that to get everything to fit right. Because once we did that, we're fine. So we think that the models coming in now, actually being shipped in April, will be 100%. And we're going to release a fantastic firearm. As for that price range, the only one thing that I don't like about the gun is that we haven't found a way to lower our costs on the magazines. So TM stands for total metal, right? So we do everything aluminum magazines, aluminum everything, right? The aluminum mags are much more expensive than getting a polymer magazine made. So I'm working on that. I want people to know that we are working on it. We realize that's going to be the number one complaint about the gun. Fantastic price for the gun. You get a couple of magazines with it already and stuff like that. And then when you go to buy the extra mags, you're going to be like, oh man, that's expensive. Of
course, I would imagine that at an all metal magazine would be very durable, very, you're going to have this forever.
Yeah, that's the thing. The magazines aren't going to break, but how do you tell people that after you buy 5 magazines, you've already spent the same price as the gun?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Magazines. I'm always shocked at the price of magazines, almost no matter what the gun is. And there's a lot of guns out there where you go, wow, and you got to have extra mags. I always tell everybody, I think probably 3 to 4 mags for a gun that's mag fed at a minimum, because without that, you have a single shot. The other thing is a 22, and this is just pro tip for anybody with a 22 out there. If you're having trouble with it functioning, there is an enormous variety in ammo with 22s. And so I always tell people, get like 5 or 6 different brands and styles of 22 ammo and see what your gun likes, because it may run great with a few different ones, and then it may run not great with a few different ones. You never know.
Yeah, rimfires are picky. And having said that, good luck in finding 5 different brands right now.
Well, true. Yeah, you're right. Everybody's going, Ryan, are you kidding me?
Hard to accomplish. It's not 2019 anymore.
No. Well, and good luck finding 5 different boxes of 22. If you find anything in the store, you just buy it all up. We have we have a couple more sponsors to thank for their support of the show. Believe it or not, Silencer Central delivers your suppressor right to your door. I know. It's hard to believe, but it's really true. Makes it easy to purchase, from online paperwork to help with setting up your trust. E-forms are now available, which is going to help make it a little bit quicker, but they do make the process really easy. I've been through it. They do as much as they can online, and then they mail you a little kit. Do your fingerprints right there. Take a picture of yourself on a phone. You email it to them. It's just stupid easy. They have a variety of suppressors, from the Banish 30 to the Ultima 9mm, or even a Barrett 50 BMG. SilencerCentral.com. Smith & Wesson, the new one from Smith & Wesson is the CSX. This is a brand new platform for them. It's hammer fired. It's a micro 9mm pistol, alloy frame, ambi thumb safety, interchangeable back straps, changeable mag release button, and an ambi slide stop. Comes with a 10-round magazine and an extended 12-round mag. Smith-Wesson.com. Well, speaking of ammo, Martin, you guys also have an ammo company. We probably ought to talk a little bit about that side of things. Because ammo is such a hot topic these days.
Well, right now, since there's a shortage, basically we run both factories the way we're supposed to. The original in the Philippines, we've always made ammunition there since the 1950s. I think we got our license in 1957. We started making ammo in 1958. We moved some operations over to Montana, Victor, Montana, in 2011. And we've grown that factory to quite a large size too. We're running both factories as best we can. There are some shortages. I was given an option in 2012 when I took over. Do we want to spend on expanding our brass and bullet line and our loading capacities and work on automation, or put up a primer plant? Because the money that would be allocated for a primer plant that was my budget for the last 7 years. So we had some good partnerships with Vista and a couple other people, and I said it's not a priority. So we worked on capacities and automation, and that decision has kind of come back to haunt me a little bit because there's no primers out there.
Right.
Despite being as close as we are to Vista or to the other people who help us out with primers, which I'm very grateful for everything they've already given me the last 2 years, it's not nearly as much as I really need. But I'm stuck in that position. It takes about 3 years to put up a primer plant. And by the time I put it up, I'm sure I'll be able to get all the primers I want from everybody else, because everybody else has decided to spend money on primers anyway. So it is what it is.
Do you guys do primers in the Philippines?
No.
And that's very difficult doing. Everybody says, just build a primer factory. It's not that easy.
We have the technology. I've made large pistol primers before on smaller equipment. We do have primer mix formula in our vault. We can. I mean, after all, we're one of the very few people who have primer mix formula for rimfire. And Magnum rimfire too. I think there's only like 5 or 6 of us in the world that do Magnum rimfire. So we do have the capabilities. It's just whether or not I want to go to La Chaussee and spend 12 million euros to put up a primer plant, or 12 million euros, or spend 12 million euros on bullet presses and headers and drawing presses and cupping presses, taper and plugs, and go from 3 million rounds of 223 to 10 million rounds of 223. And when I took over in 2012, we barely hit 3 million rounds of 9mm and 3 million rounds of 223. We didn't even make 7.62 when I took over, the 308 caliber and stuff like that. I basically gotten the whole factory, and we have lines now that basically go 9mm 32 380, 38 super 357, and then the next line is 45 long Colt, 44 Magnum, 41. So anything based off that cup, and then 223 300 blackout, and then 7.62. We coming up with 6.5 Creedmoor soon. And 7.62 by 39, because there's no more Russian stuff out there.
And you guys are still loading 10mm as well, right?
Oh, yeah. That's on the 40 line. We got the 40 10mm, and then we use the same cup for 30 carbine as well.
Okay.
So we can do that. So all of that, we've gone up from, making 6 or 7 million rounds of ammunition a month. We're at well over 30 now on centerfire, and we're well over 20 million on rimfire.
Wow.
People are going to say, where is it? What can I tell you? I don't get my boats all the time for the rimfire from the Philippines. All the rimfire comes from the Philippines, and I don't get all my primers. OEM out there, you'll find a lot of cases. We sell a lot of OEM brass to other loaders and stuff like that, and they get their allocation of primers. They're using our brass and our bullets, and we do the best we can. I think that Vista's been really good so far this year. They've gotten me primers, and I've been really happy with that, and so I'm very thankful. And we're just going to continue to grow that way. I guess my reliance is going to be really on the friendships that my dad or myself have developed over the last 40 years, and just keep on going that way. Will I ever open a primer plant? I guess at some point in time, independence would probably be justified, but I'm not there yet. It is really a difficult process to open a primer plant. And there's a lot of people, when the primer shortage happened, invested millions and millions of dollars for primer plants. They still haven't produced a single primer yet, and we're 2 years later. So anybody who wants to say that they can do it, delivery times 18 months for the machinery, fine, fair enough. you know how to run that machine?
Right. Yeah, it's going to take you to get it set up, to get everything rolling and perfected. Like you said, it took years and years to sort of automate and get things working where you can kind of just get reports. I think everybody wants a new primer factory. I think what's probably ends up happening is if someone builds a brand new primer factory, it can't be based on, wow, demand is really up. Because like you said, Martin, I mean, it's, who knows in 3 or 4 years from now what it'll be. You just, I guess if you built a primer factory, you just say it'll be justified no matter what business is doing at that point.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That's what we have to look at. And I really, I've seen these ups and downs before, and I already see it. Vista's been great the last 3 months. All right. So it's going to start where it's going to start flowing again, and then the prices will stabilize, and then somebody will finally get their primer plant operational, and they'll have to compete on price and with the same demand. And then you see the prices start going down. And frankly speaking, Vista can put anybody under that they want to.
Right. Yeah.
If that's your only game, if you're only making primers and you're going to go up against the big boy.
And I wouldn't think that there'd be, like, I know that there are like millions and millions of primers needed, but I mean, it can't be like big bucks as far as like margins go or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that world.
No. Traditionally, primers are not high dollar value. It's just recently because of the way the you know, with everything that's going on in the world, and the shortages that everybody's facing. You know, now we just have an additional shortage with 1 billion rounds of Russian ammunition no longer coming into the United States. That creates another shortage. And don't forget how many primers the Russians were selling to OEM loaders here in the United States.
You're right. That is definitely a big factor. Before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we talk about the STK 100. It's something I've been talking about a lot on the show in the last year or two, and really liked shooting it. And I think I'm trying to get the word out because I'm like, you guys may not understand. This is a great shooting gun. You've got one there that is a little bit different.
Yes. So
what did you do to this gun?
So put a match barrel on here. Because, you know, a lot of people, like, the first things were like, oh, you can't put a match Glock barrel on this. That's not true. Hey, you can't. With everything, you have to have it fitted. So on our, we have a little bit of rounding on the edges of, it's because of all the lightning cuts we have here for the pressure. So there's not too many right angles on the gun. Right. So it's not 100% compatible. So you can't just get a Zev barrel and drop it in. All right. Okay. But you can. I mean, it's still meant to be gunsmith into the gun and fitted into the gun. This is also another drop-in trigger kit that goes for a Gen 3. Okay, it's a Gen 3 Glock drop-in trigger. Yeah. And then you can do your optics. We put an optics plate for Vortex on the original ones, but starting February, we started shipping them with micro dot plates instead. So it's more universal. Right. And then we're offering plates on our website for people who want to get additional plates, not use the Vortex. I'm just giving them away. Really? Give me a serial number that shows that you bought it before February, and I'll just give you the plate. I'll just mail you one. Awesome. And so you can use the site of your choice. Well, not really choice. I think we did the Leopold, the Seymour, and Armor cut. I think that those were the ones we did. And so you can actually turn this gun into a nice competition pistol, carry optic version like this, or if you just want to do standard production class. I mean, it's got a little bit more weight than a standard Glock, because it's an aluminum frame, but it takes all the Glock magazines. So you have the big sticks if you need it, whatever. It's a really nice gun. And I also dropped the price at SHOT Show because I was listening to everybody, all my customers saying, hey, you know, it should be around the Glock because Glock still has the best marketing around there. And people, you know, they do brand recognition. And I said, absolutely, no problem. So we went back to the drawing board. I added 6 robots to the frame line, cut our costs down by about an hour and a half through robotics, and dropped the price $100. Wow.
So what can they buy an STK 100 for? Or I guess what's the
MSRP now is
MSRP?
$499.
Okay.
$499. And I took map out of it, so people can use it as doorbusters, anything they like on the basic gun. Now, I will tell you, there will be newer versions coming out this summer. Working on ATF approvals right now for the combo full size frame and short slide, and the shorter slide and shorter frame. You know the models out there of the other guys. So,
yeah, I see where you're going. That's awesome.
Yeah, so,
and I like how you go, yeah, you can do some aftermarket things to it, even though to me, it's still a new gun.
Oh, and I armor lubed the slide already. So we will have the armor series of SDKs. Definitely all the carry versions, the smaller versions, will already come with the armor lube on there. So the price difference between the standard SDK 100 and the SDK 150 and 200, those are the names of the guns, will be a little bit bigger on difference on cost, because we are going to be armor lubing the slide and stuff. So no holster wear basically is what we're looking for. And we're going to treat this like a 1911 GI pistol. It's your builder's gun. Come in. You want to mess around with our gun, take it to a gunsmith. The guy messes it up. You don't feel so bad. You just blew $600-700. It's $400. You save some money. Put those into the aftermarket parts and build up your basic SDK 100.
And there's something special about aluminum frame guns, and you're seeing more of them out there in the wild, because it's hard to explain, but you feel it when you shoot it. I mean, wouldn't that be fair to say?
I think, adding those 7 ounces to the gun just improves the balance of it. And really, the way I look at it, I put a 1911 grip angle in there. I mean, John Moses Brown knew what he was doing. So I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So when you point the gun, it points straight. It doesn't tilt up. So one thing I didn't like with my Glock was that I had to adjust my grip on from 1911 to Glock, and it always messed me up at the range because I'm a 1911 shooter. So that's what I wanted to do with this, was just make sure it feels exactly the same, and when you point, it points in the right direction. No adjustment necessary, no training necessary to go from 1911 to an SDK. And that's what I hope, is that 1911 shooters will say, well, I don't mind owning a striker fire if it's going to shoot like my 1911.
Right.
So, and we go from there. I guess I think of it differently. Maybe the marketing guys have promoted it, but that was my idea. I was like, you're going to build a striker fire. It's got to sit in my hand like a 1911. If not, I'm not proving it. So,
well, that's the heritage for you guys who have been making 1911s for so long. And it's funny you say that, Martin, because the video that we did where they didn't tell me which gun we were going to be doing something on, but they wanted to blindfold me and put the gun in my hand and just kind of comment on it, and then safely point me in the right direction of the target and shoot some shots and kind of react to it. And I mean, they were like, wow, you actually hit the target and were very consistent with your group, even though I was blindfolded, because I think it goes to what you're saying is the gun pointing kind of naturally in the way you grip the gun and way most people would grip it.
That's the way it's got to be. I was taught how to shoot from my solar plexus in a defensive situation, and it's got to point straight. It's got to point at the sky.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hit somebody.
Helps us be faster and instinctual. Martin, thanks for being on with us. This is fun.
Anytime you want me on, man, I'm always available at this nice, bright and early morning time. And I love to talk about guns. So anytime you need me, we are going to hire more Americans, just for you guys to know out there. Cedar City is hiring, and we're going to keep on growing with new unimportable products.
Awesome.
And I'll have a new handgun out of there. That's actually, I thought that should be American made, even though it could be made in the Philippines. And it's going to be quite impressive. You'll see it. You'll see it at SHOT for sure. I don't think you'll see it at NRA, but you'll see it at SHOT for sure. And it's really nice. We call it our Mona Lisa for right now.
All right.
We got 2 patents on it, and it's just super flat shooting. It's a 9mm first, but you'll see it. And, different calibers on the SDKs and all that stuff. We got to be like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, right?
All right. We're whetting the appetites right now. People are like, wait a minute, I can't wait to hear about this. So
Just remember,
yeah,
you got a gun nut running a gun company, right?
that's what we like. That's why I like you guys.
Full stop all the time.
Yeah, what would I like? Then you build it, and it works. That's why it works. So yeah, if you want to work in the gun industry, there you go. You guys are hiring.
Yeah, we are hiring. Montana's hiring too. Got to make more ammo. Got to make more guns, and I hope to create. I promised Cedar City and the state of Utah that we would hire over 150 people over the next 6 years. So we're going to come up with a lot of projects, and we're going to start pumping in and grow our base in the United States. It's going to be fun. I think we started with 3 people in Pahrump, and we're 83 people there now.
Wow.
And we started with 6 people in Montana, and we're 65 now over there, and we're starting with 7 in Cedar. And so I hope to have the same growth pattern and keep on growing and creating more American jobs while still helping out the Philippines. I also can't forget our Turkish partners as well. And they're fantastic. They're like family too. I mean, the VR80s are awesome, man. So
that's a great story. Well, more guns, more ammo for all of you guys out there. Martin, thanks for being on with us. That's it for us. We will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.